Hi there. I want to say a few words today under the Safe Relationship Training umbrella about the abuser's status quo. And as far as an abuser is concerned, if you've ever been in an abusive situation with an abuser, then you may get a sense that there is a certain line, if you will, or a status quo that needs to be maintained, as far as the abuser is concerned anyway. And under the Safe Relationship Training umbrella, and as far as our Safe Relationship Toolbox is concerned, we need to have an awareness, if we're in a situation like that, as far as what the abuser's agenda is ultimately, which is usually power and control, and to have the victim under their thumb, if you like, and to be able to maintain that status quo consistently. And that status quo is maintained through various behaviours as far as the victim is concerned. So it's about keeping the victim in their place, and should they deviate from their role, then certain behaviours are brought into play, such as various forms of punishment, if you will, and also through consistent behaviour as far as the abuser is concerned towards the victim, so that the victim is kept in a one-down position generally anyway. For instance, the victim may ask for a need to be met during a pleasant time in the relationship, apparently, and for some reason their needs are denied, even either passive-aggressively, under the radar, where it's done in a way that seems to be innocently done, or whether it's done covertly. The victim receives throughout the relationship anyway the message that it's really all about the abuser. But as I say, sometimes that message is so undercurrent, so under the radar, so hidden and covert, that it's difficult for the victim to be able to see spiritually what's happening, and psychologically and emotionally what's happening to them. So they tend to, if you've been in a relationship like this, you have probably found that your self-esteem and your confidence has been eroded, but that you may not have been aware that it was being eroded at the time, because a lot of these behaviours are so undercover that although they're affecting us, we may not be able to pinpoint one thing that actually happened to make our self-esteem become so low, to make us feel so degraded, which can happen subtly and covertly without us being aware of it. So although the abuser's status quo is being maintained, we may not be aware of it because the behaviours and the indicators are so subtle that we may not be able to pinpoint one occasion, because there are probably so many that are happening consistently throughout the dynamic, and which have been probably set up from the beginning, just after the initial stage, honeymoon stage, which all seems to be perfect. Everything is absolutely magical and perfect, and this person is amazing, and we think they are the one. And because things were so amazing in the beginning with this person, we believe when things start to erode and things start to go apparently wrong, that they've gone wrong because of something we've done. But actually, it's just the victim being brought into the cycle and being brought into the matrix and the dynamic in such a way, especially as she is unconscious and unaware of what is going on, it's done in such a way that it's gradually built up over time. Abuse usually increases in severity and quantity and quality over time. And so it's done so gradually that she becomes conditioned to it, and it feels normal, if you will, or a new normal for her or him, particularly if the victim has no experience prior to the relationship of healthy dynamics in any of the relationships in their lives. And so the status quo is maintained through conditioning the victim's behaviour and also through the abuser's behaviour, and through it being covert at times and at other times overt as well. And when things are very overt and in your face, sometimes we discount the covert types of abuse that's also underpinning the relationship consistently anyway, which is affecting our self-esteem and confidence potentially. And if there's gaslighting, which there inevitably is at some point, usually, not always, then the victim's self-perception, their perception of reality, their perception of the abuser can be skewed, if you will, because an abuser will sometimes place the whole blame for everything on the victim to make the victim feel the shame, feel the guilt, feel the burden of the relationship. And so they are busy trying to deal with all those feelings and issues as well, that they often don't have the energy and the resources to stand back, take a look at the situation in its entirety and to see clearly what is actually going on, let alone at times the energy to be able to leave and to be able to plan the leaving process. So I just wanted to flag that up today. The issue of the abuser's status quo, it's their level, if you will, that they need things to be maintained at so that they can keep in control and have dominance of the whole situation and possibly the victim as well, so that their needs are met and they feel comfortable. That's their comfort zone, if you like. So, as always, stay safe and very happy. Bye-bye.